What's up, guys? Welcome to the Way Out Pickleball Podcast. This is our first episode. My name's Jeff Packman.
Matthew Krause.
And we are your favorite 4.5 / whatever
At
players
best.
who are making a pickleball podcast because we wanted to. Are we going to cuss on here?
I don't know.
Because we fucking
We
wanted
have-
to.
We have nothing better to do.
We're going to get demonetized so fast. There's nobody on the pickleball podcast space that says fuck openly, so I'm going to be the first. And if we get demonetized, then so be it. We're not really in this to make a bunch of money. We just want to help you guys with your game. We want to talk about pickleball with other people who are into pickleball. We want to talk about data, statistics, paddles. We don't really know where we're going with this podcast yet, but this is the first episode, so it can only go up from here. And if this one's terrible, then let us know in the comments, and we'll try to do better.
Yeah.
All right, so Matt, tell us a little bit about like who you are, what got you into pickleball.
Yeah, I mean, I started playing just about 3 years ago, November 6th, 2021. So that's the first day I played. When here where we live in Bend, you drive up and down from the ski mountain and you pass a golf club, and on their marquee it said 10 pickleball courts, 10 pickleball indoor courts. I didn't really know what pickleball was, never played a racket or paddle sport, played a little bit of team sports in middle school, but never really played anything. And my partner Megan and I were like, oh, that sounds fun. Let's go try that out. And showed up to Widgie Creek Pickleball. Shout out Widgie Creek. And just were hitting, a couple balls to each other. And then as it happens in pickleball, two people came up to us and said, do you want to play doubles? And I've been playing pretty much every day since.
Dude, there's like no other sport in the U.S. where you can just walk up to someone and be like, you guys want to play? And you just get to mingle with like grown-ass adults. Like, that's what I love about pickleball. It's like, it's so inviting, and there's a lot of different characters and personalities that would probably never mesh in the real world, but then you get them on a pickleball court, and they're just like having the best time of their lives.
Yeah, it was Cindy and Chris. Shout out. Chris is a staple at our outdoor courts. He drives this little scooter around.
Oh, that Chris. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and,
Yeah, Chris is a character.
And Cindy recently moved away, but yeah, they were the first people I ever played doubles with.
That's sweet. Yeah, I have a similar story. Actually, my mom got me into pickleball. And so my mom's 75. When she got me into it, I was out at Pine Nursery Park, which is all outdoor courts. And I was like, this is like, it's really easy. It's pretty boring. My mom had been trying to get me to come and play with her for a long time. She's like, you'd have so much fun, da-da-da-da-da. And I played a little bit of tennis growing up in middle school. I played for fun in high school, but I wasn't great. But if I actually like applied myself to play tennis, I was pretty good. But my whole family was like pretty damn good tennis players. Like my dad was a club level like boss tennis player. My brother was a varsity high school tennis player. He also coached the girls team, so he was like a good tennis player. But for some reason, I don't know, I wasn't into it. I was more into smoking pot and other stuff in high school, probably skipping school if anything. And so getting into pickleball was a cool thing. It was a cool way for me to bond with my mom and spend quality time with her and get her outside, get her moving, meet all of her friends. She has so much fun being social and playing with her Sunday group. They're all like 70, 80 plus.
Yeah.
And like there was this guy, Leonard, who he would actually like work me on the courts. And I was 20 something, 28, whatever, when I first played. And he would like work me. He'd like move the ball around. He'd hit drops and dinks. And then he'd like catch me with a speed up and just like drive one into my chest. He's like, oh, you think you're hot stuff?
I know, it is really quite demoralizing at the beginning getting whooped on by 70-year-olds, but they love it for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna love it. When I'm old as shit, dude, I'm gonna love just beating up on some kids at the park. But yeah, I mean, we started playing. My buddy Brandon, who actually just got out of prison at the time, he was playing pickleball in prison, and he hit me up, and he's like, "Hey, dude, I heard you've been playing pickleball." And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit." And he's like, "Come play at the pickleball zone," which was our indoor place. And he invited me to challenge courts. We played. It was super fun. There was a bunch of young people. I was like, "Oh, this is like what like pickleball at my level is like." And so every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, actually it was Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, we would go and play these challenge courts. And you could work your way up to like the top court if you won a bunch of games. And so I would play against 4-0s at the time. I was probably at 3-5, if that. And I'd play against 4-0s and I'd be like, oh my God, man, they're so good. And now those same players, it feels like they haven't really gotten any better. And I've just continued to practice and try to get better. And now those same players, like, it's like I play with them now and I'm like, man, I can't believe like this used to be challenging. It's just crazy how quickly you can progress in the game,
Definitely.
So
Yeah, I was playing, showed up for that first time, just had a court res, and then ended up signing up for like a Saturday social round robin. And then, would play there with Megan, and like a lot of our hobbies that we start together, I get obsessed
yeah.
and get very good at.
Yeah.
We started skiing at the same time. I ski a lot. We started playing pickleball at the same time, and I sort of just take off. Just doesn't.
And she's like, I'm not really that
into it. But yeah, so then I started doing the round robins at Widgie. We were kind of like coming up at different clubs here in town, so didn't interact so much back then. But yeah, I would play, and yeah, it was like at a, it was funny because the old women in the 3-5 round robin were going to the people who own, like the people working at Widgie, and we're like, you have to rate this guy higher. I'm done playing against this guy.
Rate him as a 4-0, so that way you can stop playing in the round robins against
because a lot of the clubs here in Central Oregon where we are, they have this thing called the core rating, Central Oregon.
It's just like a club. It's just like a club rating, like local club rating.
Yeah, and it's essentially so certain people could sign up for different organized round robin play, because there's a big Bend pickleball club here. It's like very established, like hundreds of members, and they do this like core training to core rating to keep skill ratings segregated. And yeah, it was funny, like these women were like, you have to rate this guy 4-0 and get him out of our round robins, which I was happy. But it is funny how when you first start, you play with these people and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy can drop a ball like from anywhere. This is amazing. And then now it's like, you're
like, have they gotten worse or stayed exactly the same, or have I gotten that much better to where like it's just not even a challenge anymore? So yeah, and then it's like through our own journey, like I speak for myself, where like I always wanted to get invited to like 4-5, 5-0 games, and it was like, you're that little kid who like wants to get invited to go play with the big kids, know, and it's just like you feel like a little kid again, because you're like, oh man, I'm not good enough. I got to keep drilling. I got to keep working on this stuff. And then eventually, like, you get your one opportunity, or like, I worked the front desk at a pickleball facility here, and like one of the 5-0s he like called in sick. And so there'd be this group of 5-0s, and they'd be like, Jeff, can you play till so-and-so gets here? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. Let me get my stuff. And I'd like jump out of the front desk, throw my shoes on, go play, and just like hope I don't miss dinks.
Yeah.
And then like, by the end of it, they'd be like, dude, you're getting so much better. And I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude. That's all I need to hear for the rest of the year.
Yeah, getting called in to like fill the spot in the higher level group is definitely like the way to go.
Yeah. And what's funny now is like now we could call any of those guys to come play, and they would.
Yeah.
So it's just cool. that we've like worked our way up through those ranks. And I don't know, I honestly never felt like I was gonna get invited to play with the 5-0s until like I started medaling at 5-0 tournaments and stuff. But I mean, me and Matt, we medaled in we got 4 or 5 gold in Sacramento PPA,
yeah.
and that was fun. We did really well. We'll talk a little bit about our tournament experience and stuff like that later. But I feel like we just started to get more consistent, right? Because it's like, I don't know. And now looking back, I'm like, people don't want to play with inconsistent players in rec because it just makes it not as fun when you're at a high level. You want like long rallies and long points.
Especially when, we live in a cold climate. In the winter, you're paying to play at indoor places, and it's like, it is rough when you go and pay 15, $20, whatever it is, and you have like bad games.
Dude, it's so rough.
Nobody wants that. So
and
yeah,
it only takes one person who's like down here to make those games like not that fun.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we got to that point where everybody does, like we've been talking about. Oh, these players were good when we were playing lower level, and it's like every player hits that point where it's like if you don't start drilling, you don't start taking the game seriously and like, working on shots that you don't have or trying to perfect the shots that you're good at, like you hit that plateau. And I think everybody that we know who has gotten to a higher level, 4-5, 5-0, playing in those tournaments, it's like drilling to a certain extent, like has to be a part of it.
I mean, you find those one guys like Ryan Pugh or somebody like that who never drills and just been playing for like 8 years or something, and they're just like a 5-5, and you're like, how does this guy keep getting better?
Yeah. The Tyler Loong of...
dude. I was going to say that. It's like Tyler Loong, just like pro player, like never freaking drilled up until like last year, like this year. It's like now he's obviously he's getting good results, but it's like, man, like I feel like where pickleball was is like you could just play rec play and get better, and now it's like the paddles, the way the game is changing, the way it's more fast paced now. It's not just like your grandma's pickleball. It's like it's changing a lot very quickly, and now you have to be athletic. Like you have to. I feel like you have to do fitness outside of pickleball to stay in pickleball shape, which I never thought I would say that. But I find there's like, especially in singles, especially in mixed, like I sometimes gas out and I'm like, dude, I need to work on my cardio.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. Dude, mixed is a lot.
It is. A lot of just constant movement.
Yeah. Well, because, okay, I want to talk about this with you for a sec. Because I was talking about this with Marissa. Marissa's my girlfriend. I play mixed with her. Don't ask. We do fine. So we just got silver in 4-5 actually. So it's our first medal together. But we're like figuring out how to play with each other, and we're getting better at it. We're getting better. Like she's better at understanding when I'm going to come over, what balls I'm going to take, what I'm looking to poach, how she can set me up, all of those things, right? What I told her today is like, I was like, a lot of girls that I play with, even at our level, they don't understand when I am like pinching the middle, and I'm like pinching the middle with my forehand to try and reach in. And then I realize, I'm not going to be able to take this ball out of the air.
Yeah.
So then I take a dink off of their inside foot. And I may be all the way over in their court taking a dink. It's like, to someone who's not as experienced at pickleball, they will just think I'm being like a misogynist. They'll just think that I'm just like not letting the girl play and I'm just like taking their balls. But what I told Marissa was like, I'm looking for that opportunity in the middle, and then my positioning on the court is I'm already on her side of the court, so it makes more sense for me to take that dink to reset the point rather than me just like leaving it for her and then her popping a ball up that's on her inside foot because she thought I was going to take it.
Yeah, it's tough because in what you're talking about, the right side player is typically taking a step back and they're having to hit a very awkward shot.
Yeah.
And it just makes more sense to be able to hit a forehand
Dink.
to
Yeah.
the left side
Behind
players.
the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, to the left side player, usually the guy in mixed, left foot, keep them back, slow the point down. But yeah, it's very tough.
It's super tough.
And it looks weird, like when you look at it, like I had a good friend who does a lot of like sports betting, and I was talking to him about pickleball, and I sent him a couple matches, and he was like, man, mixed is like a wild game. The guys are taking up so much court.
The guys are taking up a lot of court, and they're also like that can lead to a lot of errors as well if the guy is like not on.
Yeah.
Like if their footwork isn't good, their lateral movement isn't really fucking good, or they're not really good at anticipating. Like I see some guys trying to play big, but their lateral movement isn't good enough to get back.
Right.
To where like, okay, let's say your partner does pop a ball up to like behind you, it's like that ball's going down your line. You still have to get back there to cover your line, even if your partner does pop it up, because they're going to. That's just how pickleball is. Like your partner's gonna pop the ball up eventually, and you're gonna have to deal with it. So I don't know. Yeah, some people take up too much court and think they're Ben Johns, and then other people I feel like don't take up enough court and create enough pressure. I feel like I take up a lot of court, but I'm trying to be smarter about how I do it, because Marissa's very capable of creating offense, being there. She's a lefty.
She's a lefty, yeah.
So she's there with her forehand a lot, and a lot of times I'm sliding for balls that she could easily just like volley with her forehand. So
yeah,
we're figuring it out.
Anytime I'm playing, my foot's over a line. Either way. If I'm on the left or I'm on the right, I'm taking up court.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I like playing the right in men's, and I play it, well, have a strong backhand. But yeah, playing the right is such a weird thing in both men's and mixed, because like more than half the game is just anticipating your partner not taking the ball.
Yeah.
And then you taking it and doing something that isn't going to get both of y'all in trouble because you're out of position.
Yeah. And now the right side men's players are trying to play more aggressive, because they're watching like Gabe Tardio, and they're watching Alshon and players like that, and they're like, oh, I should be more aggressive on the right, and I should take more middle dinks and this and that. And it's like, no, those players like are so good that they could probably cover the whole court from the right side. Like, I think it takes a special person to play the right side more aggressively how they do. Whereas like traditionally, if I'm playing the right, I want my partner to come and take more drops on my side of the court. I want my partner to come and look for that forehand in the middle. I will slide out of the way. Like that's what I want, because it's more advantageous than me sticking my backhand in there, him thinking I was going to let him take it, and then now we're both out of position. Or we're both not anticipating the next ball well, because we aren't sliding together. Yeah,
and especially it's tough to analyze like the differences between the pro game and the high level rec game, and then 3-5 to 4-0 rec game, because it's like at our level, like a forehand in the middle is still the best strategy.
Still the best shot.
Still the best strategy.
I don't know many people who can poke a backhand down the middle that's going to be better than one of our forehands.
Right. Especially in mixed, when like the power of the cross-court dink pattern from the right side players, and, the guy getting a high ball and being able to swat it with a forehand. It's just such an effective shot.
It's just a pattern that works. And it's going to continue to work, And I feel like the girls at our level are getting better at putting the balls behind the guys, driving it behind the guy to keep them honest, stuff like that. And like I've noticed in tournaments when I play mixed, it forces me to stay home a little bit more. And, it's an effective strategy. Just tell your partner to pop a dink behind the guy, just keep them honest if they're playing a little bit too big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So All right. Well, let's do our next segment, which is what's in your bag.
What's in our bags? I got a big one.
What's in the bag, baby?
I got a big one.
Let's see what's in your bag first. There, Maddie.
Okay.
Maddie Pickles Jr.
Yeah. So this is my pickleball bag.
Watch the mic on there because it'll like pick
all
up
right.
all that shit.
Will do. Yeah. So this is my pickleball bag. It's the Selkirk Tour. Pretty sure it's the biggest one they make. And it's great. Won't go into a whole thing about how the bag is made, but I have pickleball shoes.
Shout out to Tyson
McGuff,
McGuff, dude. You didn't get the Miller Lights?
No, they stopped making this color. Big mistake, Skechers. If you need a new pro to rep this color, hit me up.
Skechers, hit us up. It's our first episode. We're already
episode.
We're already shilling for sponsors. Come on, baby, we need them.
I have regular clothes for after because I sweat up a storm. Got my pickleball clothes.
Confirm. Do not fucking touch Matt. If he has played 5 minutes of pickleball, do not touch this guy.
Yeah, it's rough. I probably have some used clothes in here from the last time I played. And we're playing right after this. So,
dude, hold on. I'm fucking so proud of you.
I have a ball.
You actually have a ball.
It's a Franklin though.
I've been playing with this guy for what, like 2 years, and he never has fucking balls. He purposely does not buy
Here's a
pickleball.
Vulcan.
You cheap fuck.
Yeah, I need to.
He's a mooch.
I need to buy some balls. Yeah,
he's cheap. He makes good money too, and he's cheap as fuck.
Have a speaker for the few times we play outside. Then I have just like a few random things. I have, always have like tungsten.
Shout out
tape.
To Pickleball Effect for the tungsten tape.
Yeah, I use these wraps, like edge guard tape for my paddles.
So you don't scuff up the...
And I use Head Extreme Soft.
Fucking Head, baby. Head.
Overgrips. They're great. They absorb sweat. I have to change these like 3 times a day.
Sweaty guy.
Yeah, and then, a couple electrolytes, glasses, goggles I never use.
What the fuck are those? Let me... What the fuck are... Hold on.
Look at those.
Dude,
never use them.
Dude, I'm wearing these for the rest of the fucking pod.
There you go. No, they're actually kind of nice.
These look good?
They don't look good at all. But they come with lenses, and they're designed to pop the lenses out and like still provide protection.
This is definitely some boomer racquetball shit.
Yeah, it's definitely. So
love it.
Yeah, so I have all that. Sunglasses, and then I have paddles. So
you can fit a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, I have a ton. So I use the Valair Mach 2 Forza. You can see.
Shout out to Valair.
Freshly wrapped this. I tend to do that every like 2 weeks or so. So the Mach 2.
You have the 16, right?
Yeah, the Mach 2 Forza 16 mil. So this is like considered a standard body paddle, even though most of the paddles these days are elongated. So it's a little wider than a lot of paddles you'll see, but this has like the longer handle for a 2-handed backhand. Mm-hmm. And
also has a thinner grip.
Yeah, it is. It's like a 4.25.
Which I like that. I like that you can put an overgrip on it. It doesn't feel too thick.
Yeah. And it's nice. I was one of those players. I used a Gearbox Pro Power, and I used the Yola Perseus
Gen 3.
Gen 3s. Loved these paddles. Was an absolute menace.
Okay. Matt is the rare player who came from using like an old ass Selkirk, because I remember when you played it. What was that? An Epic?
It was the Selkirk Vanguard 2.0.
It was so like the one. It was not raw carbon fiber. It was whatever paint grit.
Yeah.
But then he went to playing with a gearbox,
Yeah.
Pro Power Elongated, and he fucking figured out how to use that paddle and was smoking people with this paddle. Like,
It was a lot of fun.
like you played better with that paddle than almost anybody I've played against with that paddle. I feel like because you spent more time with it, you drilled with it, but it also fit your game, and you shortened up your strokes because obviously if you swing big with that paddle, it's going out of the court, right?
Yeah. And our like local, director of pickleball at Widgie would say that, I was one of the only people who could control that thing. And it is such a weird paddle. And I know a lot of people hate this paddle.
They hate playing against it.
I don't necessarily like playing against it either. But just because like, I feel like nobody does anymore. So it is really weird when you play just the one person against it like every month or something.
Because I feel like there's paddles with better sweet spots. Like there's Gen 3 paddles with better... Like, in my opinion, you would just get a mod TA, the new Yola 3S.
Yeah.
Or you get like a Ripple, or you'd get something that has a better sweet spot. Yeah. I think the Gearbox Pro Power Elongated, like... If they make it in this shape, dude, I would be curious to see how you played with it, just because I feel like... But when we played in
they don't make any that are
standard
wide
shape.
Body, standard shape. Yeah.
When you played in Sacramento, you were resetting like a fucking boss.
Yeah.
And maybe because it was super hot out, do you think that had anything to do with
it? I don't know. I mean, so when we played that PPA Sacramento, I had been playing this Yola for 2 months, something like that, and then it got banned. So, because we played late May, right? It was late May of this year.
Yeah.
And then, so I went back to my Gearbox, which was weird. Obviously, the sound of this thing is so weird. Anybody who's ever played against this, it's like a very dull sound. And then once I honestly, I got so tired of people saying I was only good
about it.
because I was using a gearbox. I was just sick of it. Everybody was like, gearbox, like blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, all right, let me get like a paddle nobody can complain about. So, no, but seriously, the Valair, it's like more of a control paddle, but it has great spin.
How do you have your lead set up?
Sure, yeah. So I use tungsten. It's set under the tape, so it's hard to.
So you got like 3 and 9, like 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's not in focus, but I have 2 strips right at the throat, and then I like 2, like 1 on each side, and then I have them just about halfway, so it definitely brings the.
Hold on. Good.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Episode 1, technical difficulties, but yeah. So I'll just recap what I was saying. Where my weight on my paddle is. So I use tungsten tape, and I just usually get this pickleball effect tungsten tape. It's great. It's not lead. You don't have to worry about lead poisoning, contamination, and it's very heavy, so you don't have to put on too much. And so I put it right on the throat, and then I put it about halfway. I don't really feel like I need a ton of help, like turning the paddle over with weight up at the top, and it gives a ton of stability. And like I find that it like turns the paddle over sideways a little bit nicer. But that's how I have that set up. And I love this paddle. When I first started playing, I was like demoing paddles at Widgie for like weeks, and then the first paddle I ended up buying was the Electrum
Model E.
Not the Model E. Their wide body one. It was a 14 millimeter wide body paddle. I cannot remember the model name. I'll pull it up. It'll be right here. And then we'll do it. I'll do it. And then, but now on these, also great price. Like, I was definitely on the hype of a lot of these paddles, 200,
Yeah.
70, 80, $90 for a lot of these.
Almost $300 for one of those paddles.
And, this is like right around the 160 to 180 range, depending on like codes.
Yeah.
We don't have a code.
Whose code did you use?
I used KOTC.
Okay.
Yeah, KOTC at Pickleball Central is what I used.
I actually used Pickleball Effect.
Okay.
So I think his is Effect 10.
Yeah.
For 10% off. But I know KOTC, they have a bigger discount code.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like, eventually as we keep going down this channel, we'll get some codes for you guys to use so that way you can get discounts on paddles. You can support the podcast. All that good stuff. So we're paddle nerds for sure.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about paddles a lot. There's a lot of freaking paddle reviewers out there, guys.
Yeah.
And we want to figure out a way to be a little bit different because we are only really going to talk about paddles that we like really play with and want to play with. And if somebody sends us something to play with, like we're really gonna give our honest feedback on it. We're not gonna like just because somebody sends us something doesn't mean we're gonna give it a good review.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my bag. This big, huge bag right here does me good. Yeah, Jeff, let's check out yours.
All right, guys.
Not quite as big, but
I actually have a volleyball bag. This is a Mizuno volleyball bag. I got this for $8 at a freaking
smart
pawn shop or something.
There you go.
But okay, I actually just transferred all my stuff over from my old bag. I got my Fila's here. Playing around with different shoes, seeing what I like. The Fila's are pretty good. They're feeling pretty good. Heyo. I got some ibuprofen. I got a paddle eraser. There's not going to be a whole lot of stuff in this bag. There's pretty much just paddles, balls, trainer paddles, all that good stuff. Okay, so first up, I want to talk about trainer paddles.
All right,
these are the Thrive trainer paddles. So I love these for practicing hands, for working on hitting the sweet spot of my paddle. I almost play with these at least once a week. They're also just freaking fun. Like if you just want to get back to pure enjoyment of pickleball, like get a soft ball like a Franklin or something like that and just play some skinny singles with like your friends on the court with two of these and you will have a freaking blast. Or if you're in pretty good shape, you can play full court singles with these and I'm telling you, it's so fun. I don't know why, but it's just because you can't really like reset and dink that well with it. At least I can't, and so it's just fun to mess around.
Yeah, we gotta hit with these tomorrow when we drill.
Absolutely. I got the Hirachi X Control Plus 16 millimeter. This is from 11/6/24 Pickleball. So many numbers. Awkward name.
They'll figure it out.
But this paddle is really solid. I bought this because PB Studio did a review on it, and he said that this was like his new main. It was like I think it was like $130 or less at the time, and I'd never played with something like this. It's a fiberglass slash carbon fiber like mix, so it has a layer of fiberglass inside of it. Layer of carbon fiber, so it definitely has that pop off the face if you're not like expecting it to. If you're playing like a normal carbon fiber paddle like the Volair, for example, this is a lot more poppy. It has like, if you get into a hands battle, this will definitely get the ball down. The downside of that is you really have to make sure you get top spin on the ball or it will fly out. This is it's still like a pretty powerful paddle. I got this last year and I've played with the Paddle Tech TKOC that's been my main for a while. I don't have it in my bag because I actually sent it back because it had some edge guard issues. The edge guard was coming loose on it.
Yeah, making a weird noise.
I had to send it back. They're going to send me a new one. So shout out to Paddletech for making that right. So I've been playing with this again, which I've been enjoying, but it's just weird going from something as hot as the TKOC to something that's not as hot. This is the Valère Mach 2 Forza. Look familiar? This is the same one that Matt had. It's funny because Matt was in Idaho, right, for the summer. He was in Idaho for the summer, and when he came back, we both were playing with this freaking paddle.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because we both just happened to be loving it. Now, I have medaled in a few tournaments with this paddle. I play really consistently with this paddle. I love it. This one is losing its grit. I've had it for about 4 months or so, and it's been my main.
Yeah, I'm on my second one.
Yeah, I still really like it. It's still a great paddle. I just think that the only thing I don't love it for is drives, and putting the ball away. Right, like if I get a ball up, my overheads are just not that great, and so I have a hard time putting the ball away with this paddle.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
Yeah, you don't have that problem. And I don't know, I just feel like a power paddle, once I can figure out how to control it, it suits my game a little bit more just because I am a little bit more of a fast-paced, aggressive style player. And so a power paddle really does kind of suit my game. When I first was playing, I played with the Vatic Prism Flash, which was like one of the softest freaking paddles you could play with. And I played with the Grooven 16H, I believe it's called, which was even softer than that. So I pretty much only played with a control paddle. And then I got this baby, the Carbon 1X 16 millimeter. And
a lot of people using it.
Dude, when I first got it, it was it core crushed within a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a 2X.
Yeah.
And it de-lammed, and you couldn't hit a dink to save your life with that thing.
Yeah, so many people in our area use carbons. And when they first got into thermoforming, which is just they foam inject the walls of the paddle to keep it more stable, give it more power, stability, all that good stuff, there was lots of issues with thermoforming at the time. And so there was paddles core crushing all of the time, which is basically the honeycomb core, the polypropylene core would crush, and the glue would come off of the face. The carbon fiber face would come off of the honeycomb. Yeah. And so it'd create a trampoline-like effect. And how you can tell if a paddle is core crushed is you push on the face, it's gonna make a cracking sound. If it makes a cracking sound, it's either core crushed or it's on its way out.
Yeah.
But it also makes a very distinct sound. It's like a hollow-ish whoo, whoo, whoo sound. And you can tell almost immediately when something's core crushed, especially if you've had one core crush yourself. So this is a new one. I've had 2 of these core crush on me. But this is the last one I got has not core crushed on me. I haven't played with it much. I'm thinking about playing with it a bit today because I really did love that paddle when it first came out. It's a great shape. I love the way that it's built, but I just feel like maybe I have some trust issues with it. So I've had 2 core crush on me. So, but I'm really enjoying the Paddletech TKOC as my main right now. It's kind of what I'm playing with. Just the edge guard popped off on mine, and it was making some weird noises. So I'll be glad once I get that back. But those are the paddles that are in my bag right now.
Yeah, Jeff can play with a different paddle every point, I feel like, and feel okay. I'm definitely more of like, I need to get used to a paddle, and I can't just be switching. I'm not that good, so yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm just used to the way that different paddles play a little bit more now, just because I've played with so many different. Like I was cleaning out I have like a tote in my garage because I'm moving, and I have a tote with all these paddles in it. And I'm like, man, I have bought so many paddles over the last few years. Yeah. So I mean, I've played with a lot of different things. And every time I watch a review, every time I go on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, there's a new paddle coming out, and I'm like, oh, I want to hit with that. I want to see what that's like. So, any paddle companies that want to send us some paddles, we'll review honestly here on the channel. Hit us up. We'll put our email down below in the description. But yeah, I mean, anything else you guys would like for us to talk about, let us know, and we'll cover it in the next pod. We're looking to get these out every week. So yeah, we're gonna be recording these. Hopefully, get into a routine and a consistent schedule, because that's how you grow with anything.
Yeah.
Is getting consistent with it. So hopefully Sundays are a good time for us to record pods. Anything else you think we should touch on in this pod? I feel like we've hit on some good stuff here.
Yeah, we have a couple things here to cover. So we went over our bags, and
I don't think we want to go over all that. Maybe like one or two more.
Yeah, I think we should talk a little bit about rec play versus playing in tournaments. You know, what got you quickly, like what got you into playing tournaments, and like how you feel, you play differently.
Yeah. Tournaments can be they can be either a nightmare or they can be an amazing thing. Like in my experience, there are plenty of players who are like, I don't play tournaments. I don't like the way that I don't like the way that I act or behave in tournaments. It brings out the worst in me, etc., etc. In my opinion, tournaments only bring out more of what you already are. So if you are somebody who folds under pressure, you're going to get exposed in a tournament really quickly that you fold under pressure. If you're somebody who gets nervous, it's going to be exposed in a tournament. If you're somebody who pops the ball up, you're going to pop everything up in a tournament. If you're somebody who hits a lot of balls out or hits a lot of balls that are going out, you're going to get exposed in a tournament really quickly. So in my opinion, like, good tournaments, what they really do is like expose your weaknesses, and they will play into your strengths. Yeah. So what I have found personally with me in tournaments, maybe you have a different view on this or different outlook, is that in the beginning, tournaments for me were a place for me to learn how to play more consistently and more reserved or conservative, I guess you could say, because like I found that I would make errors, it would lead to more errors. I would mentally start to kind of crumble, and then it would lead to me losing. And there's nothing worse than losing in a tournament to a team that you know you can beat. So, and letting your partner down too, right? It's like you guys both paid money to be there. You're going to be there all freaking day.
Yeah.
And it's like the last thing you want is to let your partner down. So it can be really like mind-boggling. So what I found is like I need to kind of get my feet moving a lot, get my head into the right place. The right place is like be positive, be supportive, always let my partner know that like, hey, brush it off. I don't care. You got the next one. Like that's kind of how my brain works, is like I try to not let my partner know that anything they're doing is frustrating me or upsetting me. I try to, if they miss a shot or miss a drop, I'm just like, let's go. Let's keep it moving. Who cares? Like, let's just keep rolling. That's what I have like developed over time. I used to let things really bother me, and I'd be like, oh, this person's not making any of their thirds. What am I going to do? You know, they're targeting my partner. I don't know what to do. Yeah. You know, whatever. And it's like, I used to let stuff like that bother me. And now it's like, I've found that the way I communicate with my partner can either make or break how they play.
Yeah.
It's huge, dude. It's so big.
It's tough. I mean, because people, you know, like Jeff, like you said, like people's traits get exacerbated in tournaments, right? Like if they get upset when they miss a third, or they get upset when they hit a ball out, like those things just get ratcheted up in that environment. And it's one of those things where it's like, what does my partner need in this moment? Like, is it worth me trying to pump them up, or is it just give them their space?
Just give them space.
And it's, that's
you gotta know. You gotta know your partner too.
And
like
pickleball social.
Like I know that if you're missing shots, the last thing you want is somebody in your face like, "You got that, bud."
Yeah.
Like kind of almost patronizing you. Like what you want is like just give me space to kind of like process it internally. I don't need like external pump up.
And whereas I try to pump you up.
I do need that, and Marissa needs that. Marissa needs like if I even like look away, if she misses a shot and I like look away and I'm like, you got, and if I don't say you got that, it's like she's gonna think I'm mad at her.
Right.
So she needs constant. So then I go from playing mixed with her, where she needs constant that, to playing men's with you, where you don't really need that. Game, so it's just it's so different.
But yeah, it's tough. I mean, and pickleball is a social sport, right? Like it's 95% of the people who play are playing doubles. Very few people play singles.
Yeah.
So, you have a partner. You're a team. It's tough to, it's not just you out there. And in tournament play, I definitely find myself playing more conservatively, like trying to do what I know will work.
High percentage.
But the thing is like it does it has an opposing effect, because it like can sap your confidence away. If you're like, I can't play as good, like I'm not gonna play as good as I know I can, because I'm afraid
that I'm gonna make mistakes,
that I'm gonna make errors while trying harder shots. But it's definitely those competing forces that you just got to try to get in sync. It's like you got to stay confident, you got to do what works, but you can't be afraid. But I like playing tournaments to a certain extent. Like I enjoy winning, I enjoy being in that higher stakes environment. But I mean, I like playing rec more than I like playing tournaments. It's just, to me, I feel like more confident when I play, flow better. But tournaments are fun. That's how you get better. Like you don't know how good you are until you're playing with people who are doing everything they can to win.
What I like about tournaments is sometimes in rec play, people can get a little lazy because they're playing with their friends, and so they're not actually trying. Whereas in a tournament, people are trying their hardest.
Yeah.
And you can see it. And it's intense. It's a very intense environment, but in the best way possible. Because ultimately, we're hitting a freaking wiffle ball around.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
But it feels like life or death. It feels like everything is on the line, And it's just like...
Yeah, it's a silly game sometimes. When you're in it, when you're on the court, standing at the kitchen in a firefight, you're like, this is the most impressive thing anybody's ever seen. And then you're standing on the sidelines watching someone play, and you're like, this is that game that I play every freaking day.
Or you see a video, of yourself, and you think you're like out here leaping around like Michael Jordan and stuff, and then you look at it and you're like barely bending your knees, and you're like womp womp, like 2 inches off the ground, hitting an overhead.
But it is one of those games, right, that there's so much going on, strategy wise, a lot of nuance in the game, that it's very difficult for someone who's never played to see that. And it is such a mentally engaging game, and I think it's fair to say we're both obsessed with it. Yeah. Obviously, here we are.
Yeah, making a podcast.
Yeah, but it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think tournament play is like I said, it exposes the parts of yourself that are either good or bad, or just like things that you like, things that you dislike, your assets, your defects in your game, or maybe even in your personality.
Yeah.
And the thing is like I remember playing in tournaments, and I would try to drive a third. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you miss a third, or it goes into the net, and you're like, oh, idiot. I I can't drive my third. I'm just going to drop it.
Yeah.
So then you start dropping all of your thirds. It's like you completely change the way that you play the game because you missed one shot.
Right.
Or let's say you have a plan where you're like, we're going to target this person's backhand.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, this person hits an Ernie off their backhand.
They hit a great shot. Yeah.
Or they hit a backhand flick that just annihilates you down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, that person has a great backhand. They're getting everything. We got to change the strategy. Yeah. We got to do this. We got to stack. We got to do this differently. And then you try to change so many things and have so many strategies and do so many different things at once that you end up losing the game like 15-3 because you didn't play your game.
Right.
I feel like when me and you go out there and we play the best pickleball we can, it's when we're just out there having fun.
Yeah.
It's when we're just out there making the shots that we know we want to try, like just playing free.
Yeah.
And that's how I want to get in tournaments. It's just like learn how to play more free. Like obviously make smart shots, but if I see something I want to go for and I think I can hit it, I've been playing long enough to where I think I should go for it.
Yeah.
And I want a partner to be like, dude, yeah, I saw what you're doing there. Go for that. Like, I don't care that you missed it. Like, go for it. Like, yeah, if we're down 13-4 or something, maybe don't go for it.
Right.
But if the game...
do, that's
like, but have ice in your veins when, when it matters. Like, just don't let your previous mistakes or shots that you've missed affect how you're going to play throughout the rest of the match.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, anyways, tournaments are fun. We'll keep you guys updated on our tournaments and how things are going.
Yeah. We're not going pro anytime soon, but we have fun.
Hopefully we'll be 5-0, here in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the first episode of the Way Out Pickleball podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's Way Out. Shout out to Matt Wright. Make sure you guys shoot us a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys next week in another episode. And if there's anything you guys want us to cover in particular, drop it down below in the freaking comments. Appreciate you guys. Bye.